Blues Dad Barbecue. You got to keep it saucy with the barbecue. And blues dads are the most time-strapped guitar players on the planet, probably. So we
I'm
can get
not
into
mom.
exactly. You get blues moms, exactly right. Um, so let's get into this. We're basically broken into two parts: rhythm guitar and lead guitar, both of which you're, depending on what kind of genre you're playing and how nerdy you are, you may drift towards, one or the other more frequently. But there's bleed over that may not be obvious that we'll get into today. So what success would look like with this book is to basically elevate your rhythm guitar playing and elevate your lead guitar playing. So an example of that would be if you start with a blues shuffle like this that I can play with you, you might want to push that a bit further and end up in a place like this. So a good gauge would be what's easy for me. If I can play the blues shuffle, can I play it with a turnaround? Can I play it with fills or ornamentations? Can I play it with turnaround, ornamentations, and fills? Can I play it with 3 turnarounds? And what we end up doing is basically like triangulating where in the spectrum of rhythm guitar playing we fall, and then being able to discern that clear next step. So if I can do this one, that's the wrong key. Here we go. So that sounds fine. A lot of students I meet, they aren't quite there with the feel or like the fluidity of the turnarounds. Let's say that we could work to a place where that is totally flowing and makes sense. So what if we did that and we added 3 turnarounds? I don't want to bore you with this, but 3 turnarounds. So you would set up the audience, you would start with something that lets them know kind of what's coming. It's a nice way to start it with a turnaround. The same turnaround as this is repeating, as we're soloing or the singer is playing. And then finally, the last turnaround would be this sort of dramatic, I was calling this the other day, I was calling this the thank you, good night turnaround. So. There's a real sense of finality to it. We've heard that a million times before. But there's fundamentally not that much different. Well, this is a little embellished, but not that much different at all with this blues shuffle, only it sounds way more interesting if you're going to vary the turnarounds and having an intro turnaround and an outro ending turnaround and a saucy turnaround as the form is going by. So let's contrast this with the first one we played. So far more interesting than basically Shuffle 101, which is where we started. Maybe Shuffle 101 would really be sans turnaround here, but the point being, what am I able to do today, and what would a really solid next step forward be? And if I applied this like systematic approach to like, what's that one next cool thing, where might I end up? And as you go through and learn licks and become more proficient with the timing here, this is maybe a place that you would end up, where you can play the chords embellished, a turnaround or three, and licks in between. Now, one of the blues, arguably any self-respecting guitarist should be able to play the blues. If you play jazz or rock or whatever, anything short of like experimental noise music, you'd probably really want to be able to play a blues. And it's not just like a culturally meaningful thing. Obviously, it's like the four it became before blues and rock. I'm sorry, before jazz and rock. But there are these secondary and tertiary benefits of the blues that are really, really valuable. One of the most valuable is your capacity to count, or rather feel the count. So you're not getting lost in this 12-bar form. You're not playing like measure 3 as like 7/8 notes or something. You're not skipping a measure and going to the 4 chord too early. These are just like really typical amateur mistakes. So getting beyond that, playing a blues and really being able to feel what is 1 measure versus 2 versus 4 is a huge benefit of playing the blues. Beyond that, other benefits would be a lot of the blues characteristic bends. They are very specific. Another kind of screaming amateur kind of element is like bending whatever, like bending just whatever note wherever is not really well, we should aim for more. And we're going to go over that when we touch on the lead versions of this, but the rhythm, keeping track, your rhythmic independence, keeping track of where you are, and totally owning the like blues language in terms of like where flat 5 is and how to roll your thirds. This kind of stuff is really beneficial. And a lot of my favorite, jazz and shred guys have blues elements in their solos, even though they aren't blues guitarists per se. I posted that this morning. Like George Benson plays a bunch of bluesy related stuff. Al Di Meola, Paco de Lucia, John McLaughlin, and that Friday Night in San Francisco have a great bluesy moment where they do a medley of the Pink Panther theme into a blues. It's a great moment in that one. Even Yngwie's I'm a Viking, he has this like blazing run and then a blues, halftime blues phrase, very soulful sounding. But we would strive to either memorize what we're looking at here, 12-bar blues in A with fills, or be able to improvise in these spots. So I'll play this, and then I'll talk you through kind of how to do iterations of this on your own. So this would go something like... So I don't know if this is ever an issue with you, but there have been plenty of times in the past where someone's either handed me a guitar, like some piece of crap bedroom guitar that has like 4-year-old strings on it. They're like, oh, here, play me something. Like, oh, God. Or you're like in a guitar store and they just plug you straight into some amp and you feel very like bare and naked and don't know what to play and you're not warmed up and stuff. This really is a great way to roll with that kind of situation. You don't have your gear, you don't have your favorite guitar, you don't have your favorite tone or sound, you're not comfortable, you're not warmed up, but you want to play something that's musical and cool. This will do that for you. So the challenge with playing the 12-bar blues and like doing the chords and soloing at the same time is to, one, have it be interesting enough, not just the chords, and then beyond that, not have it be too noodly and solo-y. So like the integrity of the form has to remain. The chord the chords have to be outlined in some way, and that's tricky. But if we do like the Cliff Notes version of this, I'm going to write on this thing. What's a good color for writing? Let's try. Oh, no. Uh-oh. 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 That's not what we're after. That's not what we're after. All right, let's try this again. Boom. Boom. Okay, so forget writing on it. The annotation gave me some weird prompt. But the Cliff Notes version is you would want to play measures 1 and 2, improvise over 3 and 4. You can play measures 6 and 7. Wait, no, 1, 2, 1, 6 and yeah, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, D, the 4 chord. Then you improvise again on measures 7 and 8. And then you can either continue improvising and outline the changes of the 5 chord, the 4 chord, and a turnaround, or you can come back to playing the blues. So a simple version of this would be improvise over measures 3 and 4, improvise over measures 7 and 8. So you could use this as a template, and then you could move beyond it and say, well, let me do some of my own licks here. So if you wanted to do that, I would focus on just cycling whatever is necessary. Do I play the full 12? Maybe. Do I play 4 bars only and work it out? Yeah, maybe. Okay, what do I put in there? Let's assume I want to go further and grab something really saucy. I like this one. All right, cool. I'm going to put that on measure 3. So that might sound like ended right here. So like, all right, that's kind of cool. I feel confident with that. I feel like it doesn't need more shedding to like move forward. So if it did need more shedding, maybe I'm not finishing in time. Maybe I'm just botching the lick, whatever. But let's bring it and forth and do the first 8 measures. Okay, what am I gonna do on this part? Let's choose some licks. No, let me do, yeah, that one. All right, I'm gonna do this one. Cool, double stop. So I'm gonna do my tritone thing there and a double stop there. So what we're doing is we're basically like coming up with some kind of reasonable template as kind of a shot in the arm. So there's not so much pressure on us to like have this, inspired flow state improvised moment. We're practicing, really. We're practicing towards progress. So the first 8 bars of the blues, I'm putting my tritone lick on measures 3 and 4. I'm putting the double stop thing on 7 and 8. Here it comes. So I did the lick I planned on playing there, and I did the lick I planned on playing there, and then I just kind of drew on, other blues arrangements that we have here. Where is it? The walking bass line one. Where is that? It's here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Classic bass line. So I took that one. So it's a lot of compiling of meaningful things that I like. So you could call this like your bag of tricks, right? So whether it's a lead blues lick or it's kind of a rhythm guitar, goodie here, I'm basically using this as a framework and saying, all right, I'm going to comp the blues and I'm going to play something here and this predetermined thing here and this predetermined thing there. And it may seem formulaic, but it really allows us to assimilate and internalize these things that we love, which ultimately become, your style of guitar playing.